CBS Sports NBA Insider Bill Reiter. What a comeback.
Crazy
what the
game.
hell happened?
Oh, what the hell did happen? That is the epitome of toughness, resolve, not giving up on the one hand, and an utter and total collapse from a basketball team that went from extraordinary to embarrassing in the blink of an eye.
Look, it was a 26-point deficit in the second quarter.
We thought it was over.
It's over. But then we were sitting there going, if they come back, what does this say about the rest of the series? Because you already predicted Grizzlies in 5.
I do have a ticket for that.
Plus 400.
Feeling pretty good about it right now.
You feel pretty good about that. How did they get it done? How did this happen?
There's two things that happened. One is this Memphis team did the things that Desmond Bane talked about after that loss in Game 1. He called it the grimy, and then we'll use the word things. Diving for the ball, playing physical, getting at guys. You saw these guys, the Memphis Grizzlies, throwing themselves after loose balls. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, two superstars, didn't play like it. Anthony Edwards was fine, and Karl Anthony Towns utterly and totally abdicated any role, responsibility, or leadership with this basketball team. Had a single rebound after the first quarter, barely touched the ball in terms of trying to produce some offense, finished with, I think, 8 points.
Yep.
Utterly gave up on his team. Even when they were up 26 points, no superstars, a tough Memphis team that doesn't give up. It equals this kind of a shocking comeback.
Look, the best thing he had in this game, he had 5 blocks, but he also had 5 personal fouls.
Again.
He was not on the floor when they needed him, and that cost him.
So I've covered the NBA long enough to have seen what it looks like and to talk to people around the league. There are, just like anything in life, talented guys, talented people who, when the lights are really bright and it's go time and it's different, in this case it's the postseason, they play it in a different way and not in a good way. Right? For every Michael Jordan or LeBron James, whoever you want to point to, Akeem, where they go to the next level because it's the postseason, it's the moment, there are guys that do the opposite. It's a long career. People can change their stories and change their arcs and change their narratives. But we've seen this from Karl Anthony Towns in a very small sample size, but in a very, very egregious way. His inability to be a part of that team and the very clear fear he has. There were several times where he got the ball like a hot potato, wanted to get rid of it. He isn't able to handle the moment, and if that's the case, his team is not going to handle series. Blowing this game, there's a lot of reasons, but it certainly contributes.
How do you come back from this if you're Minnesota?
Karl Anthony Towns shows up and plays. You have to put it aside, and that's easier said than done.
How do you do that, though?
I don't think this team does. Now, we've seen great teams do this. I've seen the Golden State Warriors. I've seen your Cleveland Cavaliers. Go down the list of championship teams over the last 20 years who get humiliated in a Game 2 or Game 3 of a conference finals, and they've got the resolve and the talent and maybe the winning pedigree over what they've done and what they think they can do to turn to each other in the locker room and say, to hell with that game. We bury it. We put it in the past. Let's move on. But that's championship DNA there. This Timberwolves team barely has playoff DNA. I don't think they do figure it out. I mean, I guess you could hope that John Morant continues to look ineffective and inefficient offensively. He had a triple-double first in Grizzlies history. I mean, he was trying, right? He's putting in the effort, doing the grimy things. You hope Ja doesn't play particularly well. You hope Desmond Bane doesn't look like an all-star in the next game. But minus Cat and Anthony Edwards being awesome offensively and Cat being active on both sides of the floor and in that game, I don't see how they win another, at least this series.
You and I talked before Game 1. What is this identity of this team, this Minnesota Timberwolves team? What are they? We found out in Game 1 they got a big win. Memphis ties it up in Game 2. What is Minnesota? Because that is inexcusable to be up by 26 and blow a game like that in the playoffs at home.
They're the same team that they have been for a big chunk of this season. They're great offensively. They're bad defensively. They have these moments where they shine and they look like a different team 3 quarters later. They're a superstar, if that's what Karl Anthony Towns is, obviously disappears. They're a team that has issues with coaching, has issues with their leader doing the things he needs to do. They're an inconsistent, talented basketball team. And in this NBA, with as much talent as there is in the league, if you're inconsistent, if you don't play defense, if you're coaching or your coach lets you down, and I think there's some real questions about the head coach of this organization, and you have a superstar in Cat who can't play like a superstar in super big moments, this is what you get. That's who they are.
Referencing Chris Finch, and look, this team was set up to win this game by their start. But you talk about their inconsistencies. I'm going to read you their point totals in every quarter. 39 in the first, 12 in the second.
Wow.
32 in the third, 12 in the fourth.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Great offense, and then a basketball team that forgot how to be a basketball team. That's a ready recipe for giving up a 26-point lead and being golfing a lot sooner than you should be instead of playing postseason basketball.
What does it say about Memphis to win this game, to rally when at times Ja Morant wasn't the best Ja Morant that we've seen.
There's two interpretations. So the one is the positive one I'm sure they're feeling in Memphis right now, which is we're good enough to be great, even when Ja doesn't have an exceptional offensive game. I know he had the triple-double. We've got guys that can step up and be great defensively. I think the takeaway for me, Akeem, is maybe a little more negative or nuanced. There's been a question all year in the NBA. It's been a debate among writers, GMs, executives, scouts, rival teams. Is this Memphis team good enough to win an NBA championship? All the metrics, the fact they have a superstar, the fact they have a great coach. You sort of look at their makeup. You build a recipe of what a championship team looks like. It looks like the Grizzlies, other than they're young. And one of the rules of the NBA is young teams, especially with young leaders who haven't had real postseason travails, tend to just get exposed because it's a learning process in the postseason. That's what it's looked like to me in the series. Even with the win, I think what we're seeing is a really good Memphis team that just isn't quite capable of being at the level they were in the regular season because of their youth and lack of experience. Minnesota can't take advantage of that. Other teams down the line in the postseason, if they advance, will be able to.
They ended the game on a 42-12 run.
It's pretty good.
42. They plus 30.
I mean, that's about doing all the things you have to do well, and the other team being atrocious down the stretch. That is in a playoff game where, if nothing else, energy and effort is supposed to be something that's a given from both teams. And I'm not saying the Timberwolves didn't try, but there was such a lack of utter confidence and star power at the end of that game.
It's over. I mean, Minnesota's not coming back. I mean, it's 2-1.
So
it's one game, and we always said, let's not be prisoners of the moments. But you just lost a game where you had a lead by 26. Like, this series is OVER, Memphis.
I normally would disagree with you, but I'll say that. I'm going to quote you back to yourself here on CBS Sports HQ because I love this. They were down, Memphis 26, and I wasn't feeling great because I do have a ticket for Memphis in 5. And you turned to me and said, this is great. All they have to do is come back, break the spirit of the Timberwolves, and it's over. So I'm going to lean to that. Let's say it is over. Let's go with it. I'm ready.
Yeah, you had it at plus 400 for Grizzlies in 5, and right now that's still very much in play as they rally from a 26-point deficit to win it on the road in Game 3. What an absolute incredible comeback by the Memphis Grizzlies. Look, the fourth quarter was winning time for the Grizzlies. They outscored the T-Wolves by 25 in the fourth. That ties for the third largest point differential in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. As you take a look at the team comparison and what they were able to do, it was really the runs, right? It became a game of runs, and Memphis, in the end, a 42-12 run to end the game, vaults them to victory in Game 3.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.